Hi everyone. Welcome to Exam Cracks. This video contains Microsoft Azure Fundamentals Exam AZ-900 questions 161 to 180. Question number 161. You have an Azure environment that contains 10 web apps. To which URL should you connect to manage all the Azure resources? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. The URL starts with https admin, https portal, or https www. The URL ends at azure.com, azurewebsites.com, or microsoft.com. The correct answer is https portal.azure.com. Question number 162. Arrange the storage account redundancy options from the least redundant to the most redundant. To answer, move all options from the list of options to the answer area and arrange them in the correct order. Your options are zone redundant storage, geo-redundant storage, and locally redundant storage. The correct order from least to most redundant storage options are locally redundant storage, zone redundant storage, and geo-redundant storage. Question number 163. Select the answer that correctly completes the sentence. Azure Blob Storage is a data store for queuing and reliably delivering messages between applications. File share that can be mapped as a network drive. Key attribute store for non-relational structured data. Or storage service optimized for very large objects such as video files and bitmaps. The correct answer is Azure Blob Storage is a storage service optimized for very large objects such as video files and bitmaps. Question number 164. An Azure administrator plans to run a PowerShell script that creates Azure resources. You need to recommend which computer configuration to use to run the script. Solution: run the script from a computer that runs Linux and has the Azure CLI tools installed. Does this meet the goal? Your options are A. Yes, B. No. The correct answer is B. No. Question number 165. An Azure administrator plans to run a PowerShell script that creates Azure resources. You need to recommend which computer configuration to use to run the script. Solution: run the script from a computer that runs Chrome OS and uses Azure Cloud Shell. Does this meet the goal? Your options are A. Yes, B. No. The correct answer is A. Yes. Question number 166. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Statement A. From Azure Service Health, an administrator can view the health of all the services in an Azure environment. Statement B. From Azure Service Health, an administrator can create a rule to be alerted if an Azure service fails. Statement C. From Azure Service Health, an administrator can prevent a service failure. The correct answers are Statement A, yes. Statement B, yes. Statement C, no. Question number 167. An Azure administrator plans to run a PowerShell script that creates Azure resources. You need to recommend which computer configuration to use to run the script. Solution: run the script from a computer that runs Mac OS and has PowerShell Core 6.0 installed. Does this meet the goal? Your options are A. Yes, B. No. The correct answer is A. Yes. Question number 168. You need to view a list of planned maintenance events that can affect the availability of an Azure subscription. Which blade should you use from the Azure portal? To answer, select the appropriate blade in the answer area. Your options are Dashboard, All Resources, Resource Groups, App Services, Function Apps, SQL Databases, Azure Cosmos DB, Virtual Machines, Load Balancers. The correct answer is Dashboard. Question number 169. Match the Azure service to the correct definition. To answer, drag the appropriate Azure service from the column on the left to its description on the right. Each service may be used once, more than once, or not at all. A. An integrated solution for the deployment of code. B. A tool that provides guidance and recommendations to improve an Azure environment. C. A simplified tool to build intelligent artificial intelligence applications. D. Monitors web applications. Your options are Azure Advisor, Azure Cognitive Services, Azure Application Insights, Azure DevOps. The correct matches are A. Azure DevOps, B. Azure Advisor, C. Azure Cognitive Services, D. Azure Application Insights. Question number 170. Match the Azure service to the correct description. To answer, drag the appropriate Azure service from the column on the left to its description on the right. Each service may be used once, more than once, or not at all. A. A managed relational cloud database service. B. A cloud-based service that leverages massively parallel processing to quickly run complex queries across petabytes of data in a relational database. C. Can run massively parallel data transformation and processing programs across petabytes of data. D. An open-source framework for the distributed processing and analysis of big datasets in clusters. Your options are Azure HD Insight, Azure Data Lake Analytics, Azure SQL Synapse Analytics, Azure SQL Database. The correct answers are A. Azure SQL Database, B. Azure SQL Synapse Analytics, C. Azure Data Lake Analytics, D. Azure HD Insight. Question number 171. You need to identify which blades in the Azure portal must be used to perform the following tasks. View security recommendations. Monitor the health of Azure services. Browse available virtual machine images. Which blade should you identify for each task? To answer, select the appropriate options in the answer area. A. Monitor the health of Azure services. B. Browse available virtual machine images. C. View security recommendations. Your options are Monitor, Subscriptions, Marketplace, Advisor. The correct answers are A. Monitor, B. Marketplace, C. Advisor. Question number 172. You have an Azure environment. You need to create a new Azure virtual machine from a tablet that runs the Android operating system. Solution. You use Bash in Azure Cloud Shell. Does this meet the goal? Your options are A. Yes, B. No. The correct answer is A. Yes. Question number 173. You have an on-premises application that sends email notifications automatically based on a rule. You plan to migrate the application to Azure. You need to recommend a serverless computing solution for the application. What should you include in the recommendation? Your options are A. A web app, B. A server image in Azure Marketplace, C. A logic app, D. An API app. The correct answer is C. A logic app. Question number 174. You plan to deploy a website to Azure. The website will be accessed by users worldwide and will host large video files. You need to recommend which Azure feature must be used to provide the best video playback experience. What should you recommend? Your options are A. An application gateway, B. An Azure Express route circuit, C. A content delivery network, D. An Azure Traffic Manager profile. The correct answer is C. A content delivery network. Question number 175. Your company plans to deploy several million sensors that will upload data to Azure. You need to identify which Azure resources must be created to support the planned solution. Which two Azure resources should you identify? Each correct answer presents part of the solution. Your options are A. Azure Data Lake, B. Azure Queue Storage, C. Azure File Storage, D. Azure IoT Hub, E. Azure Notification Hubs. The correct answers are A. Azure Data Lake, and D. Azure IoT Hub. Question number 176. You have an Azure web app. You need to manage the settings of the web app from an iPhone. What are two Azure management tools that you can use? Each correct answer presents a complete solution. Your options are A. Azure CLI, B. The Azure Portal, C. Azure Cloud Shell, D. Windows PowerShell, E. Azure Storage Explorer. The correct answers are B. The Azure Portal, and C. Azure Cloud Shell. Question number 177. Your company plans to deploy an artificial intelligence solution in Azure. What should the company use to build, test, and deploy predictive analytics solutions? Your options are A. Azure Logic Apps, B. Azure Machine Learning Designer, C. Azure Batch, D. Azure Cosmos DB. The correct answer is B. Azure Machine Learning Designer. Question number 178. For each of the following statements, select yes if the statement is true. Otherwise, select no. Statement A. Azure Advisor can generate a list of Azure virtual machines that are protected by Azure Backup. Statement B. If you implement the security recommendations provided by Azure Advisor, your company's secure score will decrease. Statement C. To maintain Microsoft support, you must implement the security recommendations provided by Azure Advisor within a period of 30 days. The correct answers are Statement A, no. Statement B, no. Statement C, no. Question number 179. What can you use to automatically send an alert if an administrator stops an Azure virtual machine? Your options are A. Azure Advisor, B. Azure Service Health, C. Azure Monitor, D. Azure Network Watcher. The correct answer is C. Azure Monitor. Question number 180. Match the Azure services to the correct descriptions. To answer, drag the appropriate Azure service from the column on the left to its description on the right. Each service may be used once, more than once, or not at all. A. Provides a cloud-based enterprise data warehouse. B. Uses past trainings to provide predictions that have high probability. C. Provides serverless computing functionalities. D. Processes data from millions of sensors. Your options are Azure Machine Learning, Azure Synapse Analytics, Azure IoT Hub, and Azure Functions. The correct matches are A. Azure Synapse Analytics, B. Azure Machine Learning, C. Azure Functions, D. Azure IoT Hub. Thank you for watching. I hope you liked the video. If it is useful, please do go ahead and like, comment and share the video. If you have not subscribed the channel yet, please subscribe and hit the bell icon below to get notified of my new videos. Take care until we meet next time.